We're going to have a great conversation, Octavia. What a fabulous kickoff to your program. I believe we can go ahead and invite the mayor on into the microphone now this morning.
You have to bring in my mayor and your mayor.
That's right.
Mayor Nancy McFarlane. And again, good morning and happy birthday. We're not going to ask your age.
Okay, thanks.
Oh, no.
Because, you know,
I appreciate that.
Because, you know, we don't tell our age.
That's right. That's right.
I mean, we don't do that. Well, again, and how the children?
They're great. They're great. Thanks so much for inviting me. I'm very honored to be on your kickoff show.
Well, you know, Mayor, I have plans for you.
Uh-oh.
Like, you know, I would love for you to come in and just co-host with me once a month out of a month on Wednesdays.
Wow. Co-host?
Co-host with me.
Okay.
Do you think we can handle that together?
All right, we're going to try. Yeah, we're going to
You know
try.
what? I mean, because, you know, we're just good together. So I know we can handle that one once a month.
Okay. Do I ever get any say in what we do or talk about?
Of course we do. That's right, Dr. Sue. Of course we're going to give you some say. Like this morning, we're going to give you some say in what you want to talk about.
Okay. Well, first I want to talk about the cupcakes.
Okay,
they were
talk about
great. I had the
cupcakes.
red velvet with the cream cheese frosting. It was an excellent breakfast.
All right.
Thanks so much for her bringing them in. They were great.
Well, thanks. Well, thanks. And, you know, I always have to ask you this question. And the mayor we always talk about what's going on at the General Assembly. Give us your comments. You can be candid.
Well, it's been a very interesting year. And I will say, since I am here at St. Aug's, one of the things that I'm very concerned about is the bill that does not really let students vote where they are going.
Bill.
Well, it's not only the ID, but the one where the students are not really going to be able to vote at
if
their
they live out of
university
state.
if they're not in their district.
Correct.
And that's, you know, we want to encourage students to vote. We want to encourage everybody to be engaged in the process. And I just, you know, there's a great community on campus, and one of the things that, you know, really activates them is getting involved in their community, getting involved in the issues, getting involved in, you know, no matter what kind of politics you're in, but really understanding what builds where you are, and to not let them participate in that voting process is just disheartening.
And two, if that bill passed, it will be in effect in 2016, a presidential election. That's when students really come out and vote. So they know what that means. And one of the things that I was always, you know, arguing against, if you plan to pass this, 2016 is not the time to put a bill into practice, because, you know, we don't have time to work out the kinks or any of those things.
Well, I definitely feel for the Board of Elections, because I know on a presidential year, I mean, it's just so overwhelming, and they work so hard. And, you know, we have precincts set up. We certainly always have encourage voting on campus, and to have all of that change and all the rules change in the presidential years, it's just going to be really difficult for them.
And two, and we have to be honest, because, you know, that's what I'm all about, and we have to educate the students and tell them, if you're from out of state, you can't vote.
Well, they can vote in their
but they can't
home,
vote, but not in North Carolina.
But they're going to have to make sure that they know that they're going to have to either get an absentee ballot, or that it's going to be a different process than it has in the past. And I know that certainly St. Aug's has been very instrumental in educating students and helping them register and everything. And I think it's going to be, you know, incredibly important as they all come to school in the fall, and, you know, they all understand what the new process is going to be.
Well, we are planning to do a lot of education, and we're still watching too.
Right.
We're still watching this
still
big
watching.
bundle. But as you know, next week, either this week or next week, they will pass the budget. And once they pass the budget, it's shut down.
Well, that's probably true, and we're still looking at the budget from the city aspect. You know, it's interesting. I was whether it's me as a mayor or whatever group of mayors I'm with, you know, we have to pass a budget. We have to balance a budget. We don't have anybody to pass stuff on to. You know, it's kind of stops with us, and we got to get things done. So we're still trying to figure out exactly what the impact on the cities is going to be of this new state budget.
Well, you know, to my understanding, yesterday they looked at the tax laws, and we know that will pass now. And it's very interesting that, you know, the higher income will really get away with it, and the lower income, we get stuck with it.
Right. Right.
And so that's going to be a huge debate, and I'll be over there today as well, talking about what this means for us.
Well, I would say that almost anybody you ask, it's just fundamentally wrong to ask people that are making the least amount of money to pay more. I mean, that's just, yeah.
But, that's the way it's rolling out right now. And, and we have a lot of other things on the table that we're really looking at and saying we need to be, ready for, and just do a lot of education. And two, it is what it is right now.
Right.
And if they pass everything, we have to accept it, but still advocate for change, get ready to go to the polls and make a change. Because, it's all going to be in the ballot. And so we have to prove that our vote do count now. Because that's all we have at this point.
That's true. That's true.
And to do peaceful demonstrations.
That's
peaceful.
They have been very peaceful. They have been
very peaceful. And two, we are planning on keeping them up very peaceful. Getting ready.
Well, it's amazing to see the number of citizens. I mean, it's just average citizens that are, speaking out.
I haven't missed a Moral Monday.
I'm shocked.
I'm really. And Reverend Barbara always said, Octavia, are you coming? I said, not only am I coming, I'm bringing people with me. Never missed a Moral Monday, but it was so hot Monday. So hot. I had to go on the inside. That's how hot it was.
Did you get arrested?
No.
Okay.
I bring people.
I'm just asking.
Bring people. As I said to Reverend Barbara, and he said, Octavia, you are so straightforward. You must understand, when African Americans get arrested for a peaceful justice movement, we are looked at differently. It's on our criminal report. But I'm just being honest. So, when that show up on ours, do you want to hire her if she out there demonstrating and going to jail?
Well, that's true. I mean, it says a lot that people are feel so strongly about what's going on in their state that they're willing to go and to get arrested, knowing that that's going to be
on their criminal
that's going to follow them wherever they go, and every time they apply for a job and everything they do from here on out, that's going to be on their record. So it says a lot that they feel that strongly about it.
And then too, one of the bills that's on the table now is that for the state is that if you apply for any type of assistance, that could be food stamps, Medicaid, anything, that they would do a background check on you if this one passed. And they haven't explained to me, well, what are you searching for? So if I have a misdemeanor or a felony, what are you searching for? And they have not worked that one out yet.
Really?
And so if I have an outstanding warrant, what do that mean? And as a social worker, I find it. So are you planning on holding me there and calling the police to pick me up? I mean, but it's serious.
Right.
How do you plan to implement that when you find it?
And how do they define applying for assistance?
Well, once you go fill out the application, it's there. I mean, if it passes, that would be the biggest day that we would do a criminal background check on you.
And is this the same bill that says you have to pass a drug test?
That's a different bill.
That's a different bill.
Yeah, okay, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the criminal background check. So my question, whenever I spoke on the floor, I asked, well, okay, if I have an outstanding warrant for my arrest, are you going to hold me? How do you plan to really detain me?
I'm sorry, I'm just laughing because you asked me.
I want to know. I mean, so will you have the police standing on the outside now, waiting for me to come out, or anybody to come out?
You getting any answers to that question?
No. I mean, I'm like, well, what are you searching for? And what do this really mean? So he said, well, Octavia, when you go look for a job. I said, I'm not talking about a job.
Right.
I'm talking about applying for benefits.
Right. Like,
how did this, I don't understand that. Well, Octavia, if people have a criminal check or they have outstanding warrants, we need to arrest those folks. I said, but who's going to be over here arresting y'all?
Well, and I think
Octavia,
that when you...
that wasn't called for. We need order. I'm like, well, I just wanted to know.
Well, I think, when you talk about applying for benefits, you also have to think about, who's really getting harmed here. I mean, if you're trying to get, benefits to help feed your children, or you're trying to get, benefits to help make sure that your family has a place to sleep at night that's safe. I mean, who are you really hurting here? And so I think it's a complicated question.
It is. It is complicated, and we are on our way to break, and we'll come back to talk about that more because it has some other implications.
Okay.
Big time.
That's right. Coming right back with Straight Talk with Octavia Rainey here this morning. Power 750 WAUG, and we're streaming live at mywaug.com. 81 degrees at 8:19 on the 411 as we present Straight Talk with Octavia Rainey here on Power 750 WAUG and mywaug.com. And Octavia's very special guest on the official kickoff of Straight Talk, we have the Mayor of the City of Raleigh, Nancy McFarlane. So we welcome you back to the microphone, Madam Mayor. And, of course, Octavia, great conversation this morning, ladies.
Thank you.
Well, thank you. And, Madam Mayor, let's talk about the bond.
Okay.
The bond that we have on the table.
We do. We have a transportation bond this fall. This is not the transit referendum that you've heard a lot about. This is not the same as the county transit. This is a transportation bond for the city of Raleigh, and it's $75 million, and it's really, we have so many roads that need attention. We've got a lot of different projects. We do have, I think it's $4 million for New Bern Avenue in there.
We do.
Not that anybody in this room has been badgering me about New Bern Avenue or anything, but it's, you know, it's amazing. We got a notebook full of projects that need to be done, and I bet it's almost $1 billion. It's unbelievable, the cost of maintaining and repairing, and so this will really help us over the next few years, and it's incredibly important. I mean, one thing that we have learned is that you have to invest in infrastructure. You have to keep those kinds of things up and maintained to keep your city moving.
Well, Mayor, I mean, I'm just proud of you because I seen you struggle with the bond, trying to make sure all the council people were on the same page with you. It was a heated debate back and forth. And finally, you remind me of Dr. Suba. Just put your foot down and say, you know what? I've listened. This is it. This is where we're going. And and then you had to hammer in how much the tax would be.
It's a penny. It's a penny, and we really focused on that and trying to not keep it right at around a penny. So, we understand it's tough. Everybody's got bills. Everybody's got a budget, and we're also very unsure about what's going to happen with the state. We still are unsure how much money we're going to get. We're still unsure about the funding formula to some degree for roads, and a lot of the roads in Raleigh are actually state roads, and people don't understand, Glenwood and New Bern, and just so many of them are state roads, but we oftentimes end up with the responsibility for them anyway.
And you're correct, because I forgot that New Bern Avenue, where we have our history marker tour, and the markers and the sidewalk, those are state roads.
They are state roads.
And so now I'm struggling to think who's going to maintain them now. So now I have to go to the state to say, we need to have a conversation about how do we maintain the markers.
You're right. And
without it being a burden on the people who live in front of the sidewalks.
That's true. And oftentimes, things do fall to the resident. And it is that, always that conversation between the state, the city, and the community. And, we all agree we want things to look great.
Correct.
But it really is about, who's going to pay for it.
I'm finding out, too, about the sidewalks because the markers need to be maintained. But I go back and forth with that now.
Well, one thing we did last year was we made the decision as a city that, sidewalks are really a part of the transportation system. I mean, people use sidewalks to get around, and in the past, people were always assessed when the sidewalk needed to be repaired or replaced. The person that lived there had to pay for it. So we decided last year that we were just going to take that burden off the taxpayer, and we were going to maintain the sidewalks. So we have a much longer list now of people that want their sidewalks fixed. But I think that's more than fair, because we don't ask you to fix the road in front of your house. So
no, you don't.
No. So we took on that responsibility too.
Well, Mayor, what a lot of people don't know about you, that when it comes to your children, you talk about your kids like they're 5, 6, and 7. And if you didn't know that, and when the mayor started talking about her kids, you would say, "Oh, she still have kids in kindergarten or high school. She
No.
talk about them just like they are little kids.
Well, they're still my babies. I mean, they're all grown up, but there's, they're always your babies, doesn't matter how old they are.
But now I've gotten to know you, and you are my best friend. But I would also say Reynolds is your favorite.
No.
The way you talk about Reynolds,
He's not, I know Katie's listening, so we're not going to say, I don't
But
have
Katie,
any
that's what I
favorites.
think,
No,
Katie.
I probably just have the most interesting stories about him.
well, tell the
So
story about when the girls painted Reynolds, and you had a fit with the girls.
That was one 4th of July, and poor Reynolds, he was the baby. He had 2 older sisters, and so they had a little living doll to play with, and they dressed him up, and they did all kinds of things with him. It was one 4th of July, and they decided they were going to paint a flag on his stomach. The only problem was they did it with fingernail polish. So let's just say that Mama was not happy that day. and
Katie,
he let him do it.
And Katie, that's the story that I remember the most. And every time she tells that story, her whole face changed. Like, Katie, why did you do that to Reynolds? Reynolds, why did you let them do that to you?
Yeah, well, I think he just loved having 2 older sisters, and they played with him and dressed him up. I came down one day, it was near Christmas, and he was on his hands and knees, and they had him had lined up the kitchen chairs, and he had a red nose, and they dressed him in brown, and he was Rudolph. And he was pulling the sleigh, and he's just happy to be playing along. So it was never a dull moment. But they're all great. I love all 3 of them. They're wonderful.
And then I love when you talk about Reynolds stuff. I do. You see, Katie, all her memories of me is about Reynolds.
Well, that's because I haven't started telling you all the Katie and Emily stories. So
Okay.
we'll do the Katie and Emily stories next.
But Reynolds, I always hear about Reynolds. Reynolds, he better put a ring on her
Oh,
finger.
gosh. Now you're really going to get me in trouble. That's okay. He's got a wonderful girlfriend. He's dated for 7.5 years, and that's all I'm going to say. We're going to move on to another topic
Okay,
now
we're gonna
before
move on.
you get me in big trouble.
I know, because Reynolds will say, Mama, please do not discuss my business on the air.
Okay, we're done.
But those are the things that I remember the most with you. Is that not only are you the mayor, but you are a strong mother.
Oh,
And you are a
thanks.
strong supporter of kids.
Yeah, well,
And that's what people don't really hear or really see in you, Nancy, is that, you are a mother, a strong businesswoman, but you love kids.
well, being a mom is the most important job. I mean, that's I love being mayor, but, being a mom, nothing beats that.
But I just remember when I first met you, you talked about your kids. And I was like, wow. And then I'm going to close this one out.
Okay.
And that's when I thought the kids were little kids.
Oh, well,
And then when I met the girls, I'm like, Nancy, your kids are grown women.
that's right. They are, but,
But I think you are doing an excellent job as mayor.
thank you.
I really do.
Thank you. And you know what? You are one of the big reasons that I'm doing well as mayor, because it's all about having people engaged in the community and having community advocates. And, I'm just one person, and I can't be everywhere. And I depend on you. You definitely tell me like it is, but it's people that are out in the community that are telling you day to day how the decisions we're making are affecting your lives and what we're doing right. Sometimes you tell me what I'm doing right, and you always tell me what I'm doing wrong. But that's good. I appreciate
what
that.
girlfriends do.
Well, that's true.
That's
That's
what
true,
girlfriends
and I
do.
appreciate that.
But then I have to tell another Nancy
Oh,
and
no.
Octavia moment.
Okay.
You were representing District A. And we need to get some bigger seats at City Council. Those seats are not for full-figured people. I have to tell this. I was on the front row. I don't know what I was speaking about.
I don't know.
So I was sitting there, and I'm a beautiful full-figured woman, and this beautiful full-figured male came in to sit beside me. So you get 2 full-figured people in those little bitty seats. That was a price to pay.
Oh,
That was a price to pay. I had to struggle to get up.
The look you gave me, I will never forget that as long as I live.
I was like, don't sit beside me. We 2 full-figured people. And he was squeezing in that seat. And I was like, this is not working for me. 2 full-figured people. I had to struggle to get up out my seat. And he was really trying to get up out of his. Mayor, we need to get us some bigger seats at City Hall.
Okay.
We need some bigger seats for the full-figured person.
Well, maybe we just need a whole makeover down there.
I mean, we do, with bigger seats.
Okay.
So I can cross my big legs.
Okay. Okay, duly noted.
I can cross my legs.
Okay.
John, how much time do we have?
You have about a minute, Octavia.
So I would like to say thank you for joining Octavia, and I would like for my mayor and your mayor to close us out.
Well, thanks. I appreciate being invited. And of course, it's a huge honor to be on the inaugural show, and I look forward to coming back. We always have fun when we're together, and we do. We talk about really serious things, and we talk about not so serious things
fun.
too. But you gotta have. You gotta have fun. You gotta have fun with what you're doing. I love being mayor. I love being your mayor.
I always tell people that's my mayor. So watch your comments when you talk about my mayor.
You've always got my back.
Yeah, I always have my mayor's back, and I will always say not so fast on this one. There's two sides to every story.
That's true.
Let's talk to
it's
my
all
mayor.
about listening.
Let's
it's all
talk
about
to my
listening.
mayor.
Thanks, Octavia.
Thank you.
And thank you, ladies. That's going to wrap up the inauguration of Straight Talk with Octavia Rainey. A special guest in the studio, Mayor Nancy McFarlane of the City of Raleigh. Thank you again, Madam Mayor. Real treat to have you in the studio with us. And we will be back next Wednesday, Octavia. Same time, same station. Very good.